Hi, I'm Dan from Eightfold Property, and in this video we're going to talk about what you should do if you fall out with your housemates. Now this can apply to a student HMO or it can apply to a flat. As long as you've got more than say 2 or 3 people on a jointly and severally liable tenancy agreement, it can apply to you. So if one person decides that they don't want to live in the house for whatever reason, they're going to have to try and get off this tenancy agreement. And in order to do that, they're going to have to be replaced. So the best and simplest way to do it is for everybody to come to an agreement that this person is going to be replaced, and all try and help. You can find a replacement tenant if you're a student on an awful lot of forums that you'll be invited to join. Most universities have Facebook groups and house hunting pages, so advertise on there first and foremost. And then when the person comes in and wants to join the household, everybody who's still going to be on the tenancy agreement is going to have to accept that this person comes in. So at Eightfold, we ask that everybody who's going to remain on the tenancy agreement, they send us an email to say that they've met and they accept this person and that they're happy for them to live with. That person is then going to have to go through the same rigorous referencing process that everyone else has to go through. So if it's a HMO and it's a student HMO, they're going to need to provide a guarantor, and that person's going to have to be credit referenced. Once all this is done, then we can make an amendment to the tenancy. The new person is then allowed to take up all the tenancy rights that the previous tenant had, and they will get the key. This all works really well if everyone's mature and adult and works together to solve the issue. But we have had tenancies in the past where, say, one person's fallen out and they've really fallen out with the other 3 or 4 people and nobody is helping. The person who's left is trying to replace themselves in the tenancy, and the other 3 or 4 are being really obstructive as to who they want to live with, and they're not turning up for viewings, they're not saying that they like this person, and they're just being generally obstructive. And what can happen is the person who's leaving the tenancy just refuses to pay the rent. And these the rental arrears are just going to mount up, and they're going to mount up, and then at the end of the tenancy, everyone's joint deposit is going to be liable for the rental arrears. So the best, easiest and quickest way to do it is for everyone to be really mature and accept that the goal at the end is for this person to be relieved of their duties and this person to join the tenancy. Okay, so one little part that can go at the end of this is if you're on a jointly and severally liable tenancy agreement and the end of the tenancy falls on any particular day, you all have to leave in order for the tenancy to end. So we had an example a couple of years back where we had a 5-bedroom student house in Hove, and we went in there the day the tenancy ended to make sure it was all ready for the next tenants, and one guy was still in bed. And he turned around and said, well, my tenancy doesn't start in my next house for another 4 or 5 days, so I'm going to stay here. But because it was a jointly and severally liable tenancy agreement, all of the 5 tenants had to pay that extra 4 or 5 days rent because they were all liable and the house was still being used as it was during the whole tenancy. So you've just got to be really sure that you know when you're leaving tenancies, you know when you're staying in tenancies, and you know what your liabilities are. So I hope you found this video interesting. My name's Dan from Eightfold Property, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.